Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set up a quick network topology, configure the routers, and for this we're basically just going to be setting IP addresses. Let's call it bracket. I'm just going to be setting the IP addresses to routers, setting up switches, the hosts, just computers, assign IP addresses to those, and then I'm going to set up static routing, which could take a minute. I might even turn that into a second video, just depending on how long it takes. So the first thing I want to do is just going to be 3 networks, router 1, router 2, and router 3. Then we're going to have a switch, another switch, and I'm just going to do 2 computers per, just keep it simple for now. Now we want to connect everything. Actually, doesn't matter. It's just a me thing. I'm using Fast Ethernet 0.1. It really doesn't matter which ports you use. Just for my sake, I'm going to use these. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, everything's connected. We're going to go ahead and start everything. Show our interfaces just to make life easier for us. Try and reorganize it, make it look nice. Try to keep these in the ends, and I'll keep them out here. Okay. Now before I actually do any configurations, I like also writing the IP addresses next to each interface I'm going to use. So router 1, I'm going to keep on this. So my network address for this would be 192.168.10.0. So anything trying to connect to this network, that's the network address it cares about. Now, I'm lazy. I don't feel like actually subnetting, so I'm just going to give this a whole new network. Cool. Now, these are going to need interface. So I'm going to put these on a class A IP address. Don't need to. I said I just don't feel like really subnetting anything. Actually, so it'll be 20. Okay, I'm not forgetting anything. All right, and now the hosts are also going to need IP addresses. So these need to be on the same network address. So I was going to do .2. And then 3. And remember, for class C IP address, these first 3 numbers dictate the network, and this last one is telling you what host it is. That's why the first 3 stay the same, and the last number changes. Up here, these are class A IP addresses. So it's just this first number that is dictating what the network is, and then I have these 3 to determine what host it would be. Oh, oops. Cool. Now that I have everything laid out on what I'm going to want it to be, we're ready to actually start going into the configuration and setting everything as what we want it to be. So we're going to go into the console for router 1. And the very first thing I do is I set my IP address for all devices. So first one I'm going to pay attention to is this interface, F0/1. So fast Ethernet 0/1. So we want to go into conft, which just stands for configure terminal. And we're going to type out IP add, which really is IP address. No, I messed up. So it's int F0/1. So that's just putting us in the interface for this specific interface right here. Now anything I do isn't changing the router as a whole, it's just changing this specific interface. And now I would do IP add, which stands for IP address. And then you add the subnet mask. Now it's a bit overkill for me to give it the -24 here, but I'm gonna anyways. Typically for this, you could just do like a -29 or even a -30 since we only have the 2 hosts with it. But I'm gonna be a little overkill right now. And then you have to type in no shut. What no shut does, you'll only do this on the router. This opens up the port. So now F0/1 is open, and we could actually start using that interface with this IP address. Now we need to go into int F0/0. And now we're going to add this, and it's a class A. So I'm going to give it that subnet mask. And the subnet mask is basically just saying that I have those last 3 digits to change if I wanted to. No way in hell I'd ever actually use all those, especially for the sake of what I'm doing here. But that's what it would allow you to do. Okay, router 1 is good to go. And if you want to check all this, it's just show IP int. And that gives you, it'll tell you your IP address here for this interface. And then if you keep pressing enter, it'll tell you your IP address for this interface. And this is where that's the command you would use to show all of your IP interfaces. But we can go ahead and leave router 1. It doesn't matter what order you configure these, by the way. I just like going router, then host. And if you were doing this like in terms of like the prac app and whatnot, these would all be like you would all be configuring these on separate computers. GNS3 is just really convenient as it lets you set all this up in one space, which is really nice. Oops. Alright, so we're going to change the interface 0/0. We're going to add the IP address 10.0.0.2. Keep the consistent subnet mask. Oh, I forgot to do it at IP add. It has to be IP add. I also forgot to do no shut. Very important. Don't want to forget that. Cool. Okay. Router 2 should be good to go with its IP addresses. So we're going to come over to router 3. And it's just the same thing. Configure terminal. Interface fast Ethernet 0/0. And we're going to IP add. Okay, now we have our IP addresses added to all of our routers. Now we have to add them to the hosts. And this one is simply just IP 192.168.10.2 subnet mask. And now you have to tell it what default gateway it's using. So if you want to send traffic from this computer to a different network, you're telling it you're using this interface right here, the F0/1. And it has to come up through here in order to talk to the outside world. It'll check for duplicate address. And that computer is good to go. It's going to be the same thing over on this computer. And you don't have to put gateway, it's like right here. If you just put the gateway address right after, you don't have to specify it's the gateway. You'll see here, it'll set it as the gateway. And I like to just first ping computer 1. Oh, I should actually tell it to ping. And as you can see, the pings are going through, so we're able to talk to computer 1. And then I like to ping the default gateway also. So now we know the IP addresses for all these devices are good. And we'll do that for the other computers. Okay, so I know I messed something up. Not quite sure what I messed up though. So that's interesting. I'm not exactly sure what's wrong here, so we'll have to come back to this one. Oops. This one's working. Probably mistyped something I'm too tired to see right now. Let's see. We're just gonna... That's right. So those are both right. Well, it's still not reachable. Let's figure out why. Yep, that's correct. I don't know what's wrong here. So we're just gonna ignore it for now, because I'm actually not sure what happened there. But I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here, just because this could be a little time consuming. It's basically just how you set IP addresses. Obviously they'll give us the IP addresses, whether we have to subnet it or not, but that's how you know what IP addresses to use. But that's how you would set up the IP addresses and determine what the default gateway is. I'm also going to go ahead and make a video on how to do static routing, and that could be a little time consuming and a little annoying, but we'll deal with that next time. In the meantime, that's all I got for this one.